Prepare yourself for an emotional journey as we unveil the touching tale of a devoted dog and his beloved owner's farewell. We all know the profound love our pets hold for us. It's evident in their soulful gazes and unwavering loyalty, speaking volumes without uttering a single word. This is the story of a dog whose love for his owner transcended bounds, igniting a spark of hope amidst sorrow. Meet Micah, an elderly farmer residing in a quaint village where he had spent his entire life toiling the fields until age rendered him unable to continue. His son, Alexei, had relocated to the city, thriving in his career. While proud of his son's achievements, Micah found solace in his rustic roots, refusing to abandon his cherished village. Despite his aging frame, Micah continued to stroll the fields, imparting wisdom to aspiring farmers and relishing in their eager inquiries. Accompanying Micah on his daily walks was his faithful sheepdog, a companion of countless years. However, as age took its toll, the loyal canine fell ill and eventually bid farewell to his master. The loss left Micah heartbroken, his son urging him to find solace in a new, furry friend. Yet, Micah, feeling the weight of his years, hesitated, unable to fill the void left by his departed companion. Loneliness settled upon Micah like a heavy shroud, his days devoid of the comforting presence of his four-legged friend. Despite weary bones and aching heart, he persisted in his routine, rising each morning for his customary walk, a habit ingrained over 7 decades. But what happens next will leave you reaching for the tissues. One cold morning, as Micah embarked on his customary walk, he was approached by a young farmer carrying a small bundle. Without hesitation, the farmer placed a puppy in Micah's arms. The sweet pup yawned and licked Micah's fingers, melting his heart. However, Micah sternly insisted that he did not want a new dog. The young man explained that the puppy, the smallest of the litter with one slightly shorter leg, would not make a suitable working dog and needed a home. Touched by the young man's plea and unable to resist the puppy's dark brown eyes and button nose, Micah relented. He tucked the puppy inside his jacket, knowing he couldn't bear to see him homeless. Grateful, the young man promised to bring food to Micah's house later that day, sparing the elderly man the trip to the village shop. Micah knew his heart had made the decision for him. He couldn't let the puppy go. He named the puppy Amy, short for Amor, as he filled Micah's heart with love and joy. Ami proved to be a clever companion, learning to take long walks with Micah and even fetching his walking stick before their outings. The entire village embraced Ami, grateful for the happiness he brought to Micah's life. When Alexei visited with his wife, he was delighted to see his father's newfound happiness. To add to the joy, Alexei shared that he was expecting his first child, Micah's first grandchild. The news filled Micah's heart with even more joy, grateful for the new chapter unfolding in his life. Ami joyfully joined in the celebration with his family. Though he didn't quite understand the cause for their excitement, their happiness was his own. As Ami grew, he learned to restrain his urge to chase every rabbit and squirrel, cherishing the quiet moments by the fire with Micah. Wherever they went, they were inseparable. One day, they embarked on a grand adventure to the city. Boarding a train early in the morning instead of their usual walk, Micah and Amy were greeted by a plethora of new scents to explore. Arriving in the city, they walked a few blocks and stopped at a beautiful house with fragrant flowers. Micah knocked on the door, and Alexei welcomed them inside. There, in a crib, Amy beheld the new baby for the first time. The tiny, sweet-smelling creature stirred a protective instinct in Ami, prompting him to lie down beside the crib. Their visits to the city became more frequent, with little Mick growing alongside Amy. Mick eventually began to play with Amy, throwing balls and running around with him. However, as Mick grew, Micah aged. Despite his family's pleas for him to live with them, Micah insisted on remaining in the village, joking that Amy took excellent care of him. One morning, however, Ami awoke for their usual walk, but Micah did not stir. Resting his head on Micah's chest, Amy whimpered softly. The villagers, noticing Micah's absence from his morning routine, went to check on him. They found Micah peacefully resting, with Amy faithfully by his side. Alexei was informed, and a funeral was arranged in town. It seemed only fitting to include Ami in every step of the final journey, as he had been there for every other moment of Micah's life. Ami lay quietly beside the casket as Micah was laid to rest in the cemetery. Despite Alexei and his family's efforts to bring him home, Amy refused to leave, running away whenever they tried to leash him. He wouldn't even respond to Mick's calls. Reluctantly, they left him in the care of the villagers while they were away. The dog, who had loved his owner so deeply, now mourned with equal intensity. He spent his days by Micah's grave, returning home at night to sleep in their bed, left open for him by the village and Alexei. Despite everyone's attempts to feed him, Amy ate only the bare minimum, his broken heart seemingly too heavy for food. When Alexei tried to take him home, Ami would flee into the woods, not yet ready to leave. One day, Alexei sat with Amy in the cemetery, expressing their love for him and how much Micah would not want him to suffer. They all wanted him to come and live with them, but they understood they couldn't force him. Hoping Ami understood, Alexei left, planning to try again another day. Slowly, Ami began to recover. He ate more and even chased a rabbit, but what he did next was truly heartrending. One morning, instead of lingering at Micah's grave as usual, Amy stood there briefly as if bidding farewell. Then, he ran and jumped onto a train bound for the city. Arriving at the familiar house with the flowers, Ami barked until Alexei and his family emerged, astonished by what they saw. Ami had decided it was time to join them. While he would always miss Micah, Amy had found solace in his new family, knowing that together they would find joy again.